Aside from the fact that Dragon's confirmed to be a fraud by the end of this chapter, I think there are still a few other things that maybe we could look at from the chapter and this week's episode that are very interesting. How's it going? My name is Shonen, and today I'd like to quickly talk to you about One Piece chapter 1125, and also this week's episode. It's been a while, I know. With My Hero concluding and Jujutsu Kaisen concluding this month, I figure it's a better time for me to come back and start the weekly reviews again without feeling burnt out from covering 3 different manga a week. This chapter is split up into 3 scenes, so one part is the world government wrap up, the other part is the satellites escaping basically, and I guess the third one would count as the Kamabaka Queendom's reaction to everything. Now the start of this first bit is very funny because we don't get much to go off of, right? Lucci and Kaku basically return and lie to the world government saying, no, yeah, Stussy is gone, she's dead, or KIA, right? We don't really know that to be true. The last time that we saw Stussy was with Kaku, and they were basically agreeing to part ways and kind of just like let bygones be bygones. So I kind of wonder if Kaku lied to Lucci about killing her or seeing her die, or if Lucci's finally having a soft side to him. Like if he's finally starting to grow one deep in that cold heart of his. It would be cool to see, honestly. The next part we get is with Saint Jay, and funny enough, Jay's last action before his death is putting a dog down after it disobeys him, specifically Doberman. It's also revealed that he's the one who let the Iron Giant stick around for research purposes, so very big L to hold here, but also thank you for sacrificing yourself for the rest of humanity, I guess. Just kind of proves that he really was a man of science. He wasn't just like some suit that they hired to be the head of the science division. Like, he really did give a shit about this. Also, I guess it's just that time of the year where we break out the lyrics to Bing Sake again, because Jay is literally reduced to bones here. Doesn't matter who you are, someday you'll just be bones, and that's in the truest sense here, because this guy was at the top of the world and still that was his fate, his inevitable fate. Although I don't know which part of the fandom really theorized this, that, you know, Jay would die based off of like past patterns of previous arcs or whatever, but hey, y'all were right. Y'all got the kill at the tail end of the arc. Y'all still secured the kill, so congratulations to y'all. But if I can be technical here, or if I can be an asshole real quick, this theory was kind of based off the fact that, yeah, past arcs have done something like this where they introduce, you know, a group, they send one from the group gets killed or gets taken out of action, and then, you know, it kind of helps the Straw Hats in a way, or it kind of makes sense later on. Only thing is, Jay's replaced by Garling immediately here, so it's not like we're gonna go with the 4 elders at this point. No, they have to remain the 5 elders, you know?
You don't understand. Edgar is the one in the hole.
Now, the first time we saw Garling, he looked like a crescent moon, but now we see him in a straight shot, and he looks way more like a star, so I wonder if that's intentional. He also lost his cool coat and, you know, put on a suit, and the suit just doesn't look good on him. I don't know if it's his body shape or if it's the cape. He just looks like a giant egg with some tiny legs. I'm not with it. I like the previous outfit way more, but if I can harp on the suit for just a little bit longer, maybe it's something to note here, right? I know people have probably already theorized this, but I just haven't seen it myself. Cypher Paul also wears them, so what if, like, the ranking up, like the highest rank that you can achieve, like past CP0, is to become trusted with, you know, replacing an elder god or something like that. I was gonna say that I doubt it because, you know, they replaced him with not a Cypher Pole agent, but with one of God's Knights. But also, isn't Cypher Pole basically just bodyguards for, you know, the gods themselves, the celestial dragons? What if just becoming one of the highest ones makes you, you know, capable of becoming a God's Knight or whatever? If anyone is due for that promotion, it's probably Lucci. It would just mean that the God's Knights are kind of technically one step down from the Gorosei. But maybe that's just a trustworthy thing and a direct link to Emu thing, you know? I'm looking very forward to seeing if Emu's power is transferred over to Garling here. We don't know what their deal is still. We haven't seen any devil fruit boxes for them, introductory boxes like that, so we can assume that they're still demons. I just wonder if that's something that all of the celestial dragons have within them, or if that's just something that's bestowed to them once they get the honor of a God's Knight. Sorry, not a God's Knight, a Gorosei. A cool little side note that I think we should really pay attention to here is the fact that Emu's not tapped into all of Jay's memories like Vegapunk was with his satellites. There might be a parallel here, maybe some future events will flesh this out a little bit more, but just keep that tabbed for now. I mean, if I can try and draw that parallel now, I would say this kind of was a chess match between Emu and Vegapunk, where they both had had their 5 pieces on the board, or they both had their many pieces on the board, but I'm just thinking about the satellites versus the Gorosei in a quick sense, and like who made their moves the best, who made the final move to come out on top here, right? These guys have access to the Mother Flame, but you know, Punk Records is safe. Like, it was an even trade. I saw someone mention the fact that Imu refers to Luffy as Joy Boy and not Nika, and how this might kind of age him or date him versus the Gorosei. I don't really look into it. I just more so wondered whether or not this is because Nika is really a myth, or if Imu just refuses to see Joy Boy as Nika in the same way that Lucci refuses to see Luffy as an emperor. Wow, that was kind of a tongue twister for me. We move on into scene 2, which is basically the satellites escape. They launch Punk Records into the sky, and you know, they try to get the Fabrio phase with them, or the Labo phase. I forget these phases. They try to get another part of the island with it, but it fails because York is there. Either way, they did secure Punk Records, which is huge, absolutely huge. I guess Lilith just really wasn't lying last week, or at least wasn't leading to something deeper like I had hoped, or at least thought would happen. They're just kind of alive because spare parts, robots. That just makes a lot of sense. I really thought it was like she had a mind connection, or there was like some restorative program where, you know, she would still have like some of the memories of the other ones, or she would become the one complete Vegapunk. None of that matters. There's no specific reason that Lilith is on the boat right now as opposed to the other Vegapunk satellites. It is just the fact that she just happened to escape, and if she didn't escape, she would have been fine anyway with spare parts that were around. As upset as I want to be about Oda bringing back 3 of the 5 people he killed this arc and use that as like a, oh my god, Oda can't kill people thing, we've honestly seen way too many examples of Atlas being repaired this arc for me to be mad at this, or at least for me to view this as a bad example of Oda reviving characters. This is like one of the very few examples where I would go, huh, makes sense, cool with me. They're robots, it's whatever. Also, he killed Saturn, perfectly fine with me. Although it is still very weird for me that the Straw Hats and the Giants are like toasting next to Vegapunk's body. I know he's not right there, but like there's a dude leaking with a hole like few feet from ya. Don't do this. It's like the second time we've seen this arc. So the power blowing foreshadowing that we saw at the end of Wano was confirmed not to be set up for Kaido and Big Mom's return. It was just to set precedence for the fact that entire islands can just be shot up into the air without the use of a knock-up stream. Keep this in mind when we're just hopping around Sky Islands to fight in a couple of arcs. I will still hold out some type of cope for Big Mom and Kaido's return, but only because Kaido was introduced on a Sky Island. Like that's all I really have left here. And then we got scene 3. Kind of want to count this as the ending for scene 2, but also kind of an ending for Egghead. Like, is this the last scene of Egghead technically? Like, or is this gonna count as like an in-between? You know, I'm just wondering, like, what does Egghead's actual ending look like? Anyway, we move on to more reactions from the fucking peanut gallery over here. Like, Dragon's crew really is not tied together by some great master plan. They're just some people who defected from their countries because they want to liberate some people. Like, that's really it. Either way, it's got to be mad fun for them to all be going conspiracy theory, because they're just be able to connect the dots right now and be like, oh shit, that's why this is happening. Like, I just can't help but think of, there's a couple of movies where this happens, but specifically the Black Dynamite one where they're just in the coffee shop figuring shit out.
Anaconda malt liquor gives you, woo! Gives you what? Woo! And who else is famous for? Woo! Little Richard!
Like, yeah, the Tequila Wolf, Vodka Wolf, they're all liquors. Why? Well, of course. It's really good stuff. Dragon basically plays us out as the narrator here because he has nothing else to do but take someone else's job at this point. I'm truly upset with Dragon at this point, and I know everyone already is, but like, this is the chapter that kind of confirms he's a fraud. There's nothing else he can do. He doesn't know anything about the ancient weapons, maybe about Uranus, but his reaction is so vague that I'm not giving it to him. He doesn't know anything about the Void Sentry, probably doesn't know anything about the Will of D, doesn't know shit about Vegapunk's escape plan, right? He wasn't part of it. That was the last bastion of hope that we kind of had for him. Didn't know about Emu, right? I think that was Ivankov that gave us that, and I would hope that Dragon also knew this, but the fact that he wasn't the one to tell this to Sabo, I'm not giving it to him at that point. Maybe he could have heard about it, but I'm just not gonna give it to him. And he also didn't know about the ancient weapons. I don't want to give him the benefit of the doubt here. I don't want to go off of one reaction and assume that, oh, he reacted this way because he knew about this ancient weapon. Like, no, I think he was genuinely confused. Like, what do you mean something flew out of the sky? There's nothing else for Dragon to do at this point that could save his character. all we can really expect from him at this point is to be very, very strong in the final arc so he can take down a very strong opponent, and to maybe come through for Luffy narratively as a father type of way. Like maybe they can have a nice realistic moment, but I even doubt that. I feel like if anything, it'll just be a fan service, you know, like, oh my god, Luffy and Dragon finally interacted. Dragon doesn't really understand his son and how goofy he is because he's never met him before, ha ha ha, something like that. The only thing Dragon has going for him as a character these days is the fact that he can be tapped into the ways of man. He's been around long enough, and he's kind of, you know, been around enough people and liberated enough people to kind of know how people in general act, which is the best thing that you can ask for a former Celestial Dragon, former Marine. What is he now? Because the last panel basically predicts something that we just saw this chapter, which is people fighting for resources at the end of the day. We see the Celestials already shooting each other, or already shooting their servants over the fact that they couldn't have snacks today. You take that and bring that down to the level of real worldness, and you will see some serious shit happening amongst the common folk in the One Piece world. But man, if this was not like the biggest metaphor for first world problems versus third world problems, like damn, very well done, Oda. Now, just for a few anime tie-ins, like things that I noticed that kind of correlated or directly connected to the anime this week. First of all, we're seeing Garling again in the manga just before he gets introduced in the anime. That's kind of cool to me. I like when the anime and the manga sync up, because it just makes me think, well, maybe this is Toei or Oda, you know, them knowing the schedule and wanting us to keep in mind certain things that are happening at the same time. Imu kills an elder in the manga, and next week he'll kill Cobra in the anime. Also, Saturn is on his way to Egghead, right? So once this flashback is over, it'll be a weird overlapping of like Saturn's just dead in the manga, but he's just being introduced in the anime. If this were a longer story, just saying that last part would make it feel like so much more time has passed, and it's not just the middle of an arc versus the end of an arc. It's a weird One Piece thing. This week's chapter ends with the Revolutionaries' reaction to everything that's happened so far. Meanwhile, the anime has the Revolutionaries in it, and they're basically just, it's going through their plan as well. Again, it's a weird overlap thing, but also the fact that, you know, this is still technically a flashback being told by Sabo. So we're kind of in Kamabaka Queendom, reacting to things in both senses. One thing I will be keeping my eye on is in a couple of weeks, I don't think it'll happen next week, but in a couple of episodes, we should see the book that Ivankov hands over to Sabo when he's talking about Imu. Try to figure out what that book says on it. At first, I thought that shit said genie, then I thought it said jeans. Asked Reddit, someone told me it was it's Genesis. That I could believe. It's just the writing doesn't look like that in the manga to me, so I really want to wait for the anime to confirm that before I really go crazy with what, you know, else could be inside of that book. Imu's weird, man. Imu's weird in the anime, weird in the manga. Like, I don't like it. I'm not saying I don't like him as a final villain, but definitely like not giving strong, evil, you know, menacing character. More so just giving me off-putting, and I don't want to look at it for too long. Also, if anyone can answer the question, what are the 20 swords for? Or like, what are the other swords for? Not the 20 on the top of the throne room, but like the 50 or so that are just scattered in the middle section. Like, is that the family of those people? Like, what is that supposed to symbolize? Did I miss that? Anyway, Imu finally talks in the anime, and we got literally one word because it's One Piece. That's just how this shit works. But it's enough. It's more than enough for us to just go off of for now. He has a voice filter, so that's something. And I think that's enough, honestly. I think that just lets us know that he's the type of dude to use a voice filter, which basically tells us that's a kid. Imu's a squeaker confirmed. Oh, I'm serious about this, by the way. If you don't believe me, just think about it for a quick second. You already know Imu's gonna have a quirk, right? Like, every villain has a quirk. Pretty much every character in the story has a quirk. Imu has to have a quirk. And you know what it's gonna be, right? It's gonna be that he doesn't want people laughing at him. That's the simplest way. And we already know what this quirk is gonna be, because it's gonna tie into one of the biggest things in this series, which is the laughter itself. Imu does not want people laughing at him. That's it. Why not? Because Imu has a funny voice, or has a funny body shape, or a weird ass face. Like, it's gonna be something like that. We don't know if it's his appearance specifically, or his real voice, or, you know, maybe his fake voice, but Luffy's gonna bawl when he sees him. I know, some of you still doubting. You think I'm playing because Oda would never undercut the seriousness of a situation with gags. Have you forgotten about drunk Kaido? Have you forgotten about Big Mom's childish behavior throughout the entirety of her arc? Motherfucking Pika? You forgot about Pika? Like at this point, Pika could just be foreshadowing. Or maybe you just forgot the fact that Luffy was out here dying of laughter while Vegapunk was actually in his shot. Like I'm pretty sure Vegapunk was in the shot. This is reality now, so just take a moment to come to terms with it. Last thing I really want to talk about is the Nerona thing. I'll wait till next week. I'll wait till next week and I'll do some proper research, because I was gonna make a whole rant about how, you know, I didn't like the fact that, you know, everyone that I've seen covered the whole Nerona name thing didn't really dive deep into it, or just gave a very general thing. And I have one paragraph here, so I'm not gonna be a hypocrite just because I think I discovered one extra thing. We'll wait till the whole Nerona thing comes out in the anime, and hopefully we have some more to go off of in the manga. But yeah, that's all I really have to say. I thought I didn't have much to say, but now I'm saying this is 34 minutes of video, so, you know, rip me. I was trying to record this and edit it real quick before I went to bed. Not happening. Either way, thank you for watching if you got this far. Like, comment, subscribe if you are, you know, enjoying the video, if you enjoyed the video. Yeah, that's all. I'll see y'all soon, now that I can focus on one manga that I really give a damn about and cover that. Expect more One Piece content. So yeah, bye. Sorry. Have a good day. Be safe. Bye.